this is my Amazon Web Services Management Console. Okay, so let's go to EC2, find the list of running instances of servers. Okay, let's go there. So now from here, this was the instance which we are working on. Start. So new instance. Still in a pending state. Just hold on. Yep. So let's load. Let it load. So meanwhile, let's connect to it using putty. Meanwhile, start off. Yes, it takes time, right? Putty. Control V. IP address. Auth. Browse for the .ppk file. Just give me a second. So yes, so login as EC2-user. To log into a Linux instance, it is EC2-user as a username. For Ubuntu, UBUNTU, and for Windows, you get a username and password right there. Okay. Now logged in. Switch to root user. Okay. So now let's make one more file. Details.txt. Let's see. So now what are we discussing is we have 5 patterns of awk left. So let's complete it and then quickly go to next topic. Before we do that, just need random data here. So if you want to add something, you can just go ahead and add some random data. Search our technology. Story. save this file. So now you have some data. Told you awk is used for some search patterns, right? So what is it actually trying to search, okay, and what is it going to print? So if you ask it to search any regular pattern and any pattern and print it, it will go ahead and print that pattern, okay? So if you're not specifying it what to print, it will print all the data in that file, okay? So how, in the above syntax, let's see awk search pattern, okay, 1, some action to be specified. Next search pattern 2, action to be specified. Any number of search pattern 3, action to be specified. And where is it to be specified? It's to be specified, performed on a file. Data should be picked up from a file, and on that all the search and all the search and action should be performed, right? So from where it should be picked? It should be picked from the specific file which you specify, okay? Just here, the search is a regular expression. You say, search for technology, search for manager, person in column 3, in column 3 whoever is having a manager, so just print it out, something like that, okay? So an action, what do you want it to do? You said print it out, right? Or else you wanted to replace it, or you wanted to delete it, what all actions you want to do, okay? And everything should be specified within the single quotes, okay? So I said print. What did I give? This is only the action. I didn't specify any pattern here, but I'm specifying only the action. When I said print, goes ahead and prints whatever I ask it to print, it is printing it out. It is not doing any search operation, but going ahead, it is printing all the data. Okay. So now if I say, if I have to search for some specific pattern, told you if no pattern is specified, action would be carried out which will print or which will delete or which will edit the entire file, okay? So now always pattern is specified within single, within single quotes, okay? After every single quote, it should be enclosed between the slash, okay? /. Let's see. It's awk slash, what do we get? Panda. That's a small letter, so it couldn't find it. It is case sensitive, okay? So I asked it to print panda, so it has gone ahead and printed it. So now I can include, more than one search pattern here itself, okay? Okay, sorry. It's not very specific. What happened to it? Okay. Okay. Panda. Yeah. the print Randy change print. Oh, I didn't give it enclosed within 2 quotes. Yeah. Just gone ahead and printed Randy and Panda, both of the data, because I asked it to print something matching Panda. So now if I go ahead and tell it to print something in, let's say print something in technology, probably, yeah. So should go ahead and print it, right? So whatever names we have under technology, it has got it and printed it out. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them we have. So go ahead, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are there coming to technology. Okay, this is one pattern of printing it. Okay, when you say normally print, it prints all the data. When you specify the pattern, it prints the specified pattern match. It searches for a pattern match and prints the only specified set line which has a pattern match. Okay, so now if you want to print only not all the lines, but you want to print only your employee name and their salary, not everything. So how are you going to print it? Awk, within the print block you have to specify $2, $5. So $2 is nothing but $1, value of 1, first row, sorry, first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column. Here this represents the column number. Okay, so now I gone ahead and say from details.txt. So it gives you both first line and last line. So it is your option. You want to include what do you say, fourth line as well. It prints you all the 3 lines with their category. Are they into HR? Are they into technology? Are they into marketing? It just categorizes and prints. So it is searching for a pattern and extracting data in a way in which you actually want it, so that it can be the data, the processed data can be better used by us for achieving some other task. Okay, so there are one or two more patterns. Let me first explain this sheet off. Okay, so one is, we have seen this yesterday. Fine. So the basic syntax starts with begin, action, what you want to perform. Okay, and within the and after that you have to specify all the set of actions when actions end. It is start of actions and end of actions. Okay, so begin, what did I say? What is the action? Print. So print what? Name, tab designation, tab department, tab salary. This is not there. I'm saying print it. Okay, and print $2. First one I have, and first two, what am I having? It is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, whatever it is. We are having some data, but I don't want it. So I'm saying go ahead and print $2, tab $3, tab $4, okay? So that tab $5, okay? So that I'll see whatever data I wanted, I'll get it on screen and it will print it, okay? Now, and I said end of the line, report generated, whatever. This end is something again of begin. How you want to begin your print or search print pattern? I wanted it to begin with another set of line saying name, designation, department, everything. Again, end of the line, I want to say that I want to add one more line saying the report is generated. Okay. So, and where I want to perform it on employee.txt. Okay. So this is one sort of pattern which appends some data at the beginning and the end of the data which you want to print. Okay, on which you want to do some operation. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Quickly.
It's like It's from a employee text. It is taking all those parameters like that or what?
Okay. So Sandeep, from employee TXT,
Yeah,
what do we have in employee TXT is,
txt. So it is
huh,
fetching from the
yeah,
file
this is the
employee
first,
text.
yeah,
Yeah,
from the employee. First, actually, what if I say, go ahead and print $2, $3, $4, and $5.
and dollar
It
five.
prints out, yeah, it prints out all of this. It's not first one, okay? So 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5 prints out this row for us. Initially, we did this. So now what do I want to achieve is, so see, this doesn't have a heading or a title or something. I want to begin it with something and end my search and action pattern with something else. So what do I want to begin it with? So I want begin adds additionally a line on, pushes another line onto your screen, it pops it up. After that, it fetches data from this file and displays it however you asked it to display. After that, it again adds one more line. Okay, so begin and end, begin actions and end actions. So you ask there to print few names, saying it's a name, it's a designation, and you're saying that, print it saying that I have achieved some something, saying that I've printed the data. Okay, so in middle, whatever data is displayed, it is fetched from this employee.txt file. Okay.
Yeah.
Quickly use this. So I think it's enough. Okay. So I said awk begin print. It's my action is print. So print what? Name, tab designation, tab department, tab salary. Okay. After it, what am I saying? Go ahead and print again. Go ahead and print what? Print all this. Okay. So after that, I'm saying once it is all done, print one more line saying that it has ended. So now I have to close this file and tell where it has to work on. So where it has to actually work on is detail. Okay. So it went ahead. Okay. So and it went ahead and printed the data. Okay. So you can ask me why this last two lines are not coming properly, because one tab space is that much only. So but this value is very small, so that's the reason this data has been pushed a bit ahead. Okay. So now I added name, designation, department and salary with tab spaces, under which I have printed $2, $3. It's not making any action inside a file. Your file is the same. It didn't do anything. It has fetched the data from your file and it has printed it with a tab space. That's it. And then it has printed some end of the line as well. Okay. So this is one sort of pattern. So it is like there will be some scenarios where you have to sort out data, whoever is having more than some amount of number or some amount of salary. So how are you going to do this? Okay. So it says from the first column, whoever is having a data greater than, it says in the first column, whoever is having number greater than 200, go ahead and print it. But I can even specify, I can just say awk still one disconnected on the right. Why network connection time? But let's say 400. Okay. Search for data greater than 400 and printed it out. So now I'll say, no, I don't want greater than, but I asked it to print data which is less than 400. First line, okay. So similarly, you can ask it to work on $5, fifth row, and say whatever salary you have, again number, not sure. So whatever it is greater than 6, it is printed everything actually, because it is not able to, it is a dollar, so it's not able to actually find it out. So whatever is less than, I said 3000, so everything has come. It's less than 300, it has printed it out. Simple. So when you just want to print something, just by checking values or comparing it within the column and printing it out, you use this pattern. Okay. So that's one type of pattern, and another one would be, so just say print with in $4, whoever, it's not, it says that string technology, okay, and print it. So it tries to find in fourth column if anyone is having word technology in that, and if it is having, it is printing it out. Okay. And next pattern, print number of employees in technology department. Okay. So how is it going to print number of employees in technology department? It's just a simple awk begin. Initially, what is the action? I'm saying count is equals to 0. Okay. And I'm saying every time I'm finding someone in technology, I'm not going to print it out this time, but I'm going to increase count. What is the action? It is not print, it is count plus plus. So I'm increasing count by month. Okay. So and print number of and what is, and when everything is completed, so I'm saying it end I'm telling it, go ahead and print this line along with the count number. So on which file it should work on? It should again work on details.txt file. Okay. Did I count something? Close something. Okay. 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 After this, it should start with this as simple as possible. And okay. So now it is printed. Number of employees in technology is equals to 4. Okay. So just cat file and just count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has counted it and printed it. Few basic grep patterns which we have. So I'll be sharing this document mostly. So if you have any doubts, please go through it and get in touch with me. So now we'll quickly start off with Python. So before we start off, okay, so what topics I would be covering on a just rough basis, let me explain and then we'll start. And just anyone has worked on Python earlier. Okay, so why, you can just simply come and say, why are you teaching Python, Spandana? Why don't you teach Java or .NET or some other language? So why are we actually learning programming here? Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, you're not expected to be a great coder or you're not expected to code something, but still, why are we looking at Python? Python is like, I'll tell you, it's a emerging area in programming. If you are from a development background, you would know. So you have worked in Java, you have worked in .NET since a long time, but most of the people now are preferring to work in Python these days because every tool, most of the tools which are released into market these days are open source tools, right? Most of them are open source tool. What is an open source tool? An open source tool is something which doesn't have any licensing cost. It's a freeware, right? When it doesn't have any licensing cost, let's say if you have to install and configure a Windows, a Windows server needs a licensing. Not only that, just install Ansible. It needs a proper, it's a paid service. You need without paying it. You can't install a full version of an antivirus on your machine without having a license of it, right? So coming to big technologies and big tools, how can you, it's very nice that you're able to install them without any licensing cost. So its maintenance has come down to zero. You're not going to pay every annually this much amount for its licensing or something. It's actually reducing the expenditure which a company is bearing. It has 200 machines. Every machine should, for every machine, we should pay around $20 a year for just some licensing, some sort of licensing, let's say. So it is 20 into 200, it's $4,000 a year. Okay. As long as your revenues are good and 4,000 is okay. But it's not 200, but you have around 2,000 employees or 3,000 employees, or everyone will be using something, and it's it's a common application which should be used by everyone. But each of them you have to pay a minimum of so much amount. So how would it turn out to be? A lot of amount you have to spend for it. So that's the reason why companies are going with open source tools, and mostly coming into cloud. You can see AWS. Most of the services are initially for a basic usage, they are free. After that, they are paid services. That's a public cloud, okay, we are speaking about. Go to a private cloud, OpenStack. It's a private cloud, okay. It can be used to build your own infrastructure at zero licensing cost. It is an open source tool, okay, which can be used to build your own infra at a zero cost. What you need to have is on-premises servers to launch your infra. That's it. You need not pay anything for it, okay. Just make a setup and start using it, okay. So entire Python and entire OpenStack is written in Python, okay. So you go ahead with Puppet, Chef, everything has an extends, and even AWS extends its support for Python SDK, okay. Python is such a powerful technology. So I mean, why are we learning it now, okay? So going ahead, you would be, there could be some sort of code which you might be looking into. It has thrown some errors. there's no one to handle, you have to sit and see. So if you know any one programming language, it is easy, Java. It's good that you can learn any of the programming language. Aram se you can see, okay. So in coming to .NET, basic ASP.NET or something. So going ahead and seeing other VB.NET, C Sharp, whatever, it is mostly the syntactical differences, but it is not, concepts are not totally different, right? So knowing something related to it would help us look into the code as well. So first thing, you have some programming knowledge, and second thing, if you're stuck somewhere or you have to look into some programming, you should not raise your hand and say, hey, I'm zero at programming, I don't have any knowledge, okay? So that's the reason why we are going through Python, okay? So what I would be covering is, it is a open source technology. Most of the tools are being built on Python these days, okay? So Python, why, we just covered it. So how we write a simple sample script, how we run it, different data types and operators we have, decision making statements, loops, and we have a different topic called as, just go to advanced, we have functions. For modules, it's a new one, right? Modules, and regular expressions, files handling, classes, objects, and database access, okay? So these would be the topics which we'll be covering. So coming to data types, it itself has some different data different data types when compared to other programming languages. It itself has some different data types. So just need to go through all of them, okay? So apart from that, mostly it is same, okay? Same to other programming languages. So what is Python? So it's a general purpose, interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, high-level programming language. Everything is self-explanatory. So interpreted, it's interactive, it's object, it extended support for OOPS concepts as well, okay? So it was created in early 90s, and it is similar to Perl and Ruby. Almost all are similar, okay? So more or less it's a script actually. It's a script actually. Python is a script more or less. And even what do you say? All the functions, all the decision making service, everything doesn't have an open brace, closed brace structure, but it's intended, okay? It's open source. Why Python? We have discussed on it. It's open source. Biggest upsides to Python, that's perfect for rapid and development. Doesn't take long to program something in Python, okay? It's easy to learn, and it's a multi-paradigm program, much like C++ or something, okay? And here it is not more concentrating on syntax as I've specified. It is rather than, you could concentrate more on logic rather than checking, hey, I've closed this brace, did I close it? I've opened this brace, did I close it? Hey, is this brace somewhere standing extra, or is it in the exact? Rather than looking at all the stuff, you can just concentrate on your program mostly, okay? That's all about Python. So let's quickly jump into and start something about Python. So how are we going to install Python? Sudo. To install some package in Linux environment, we use yum. Okay, yum install Python. Why? If you specify a version, okay, it fetches the specific version. It's 2.6 or 2.7 or 2. Whatever you say. If you don't specify it goes ahead and gets a default version and comes back. So it is completed in string Python version 2.6. Okay, so it is installed it. Okay, so now we have Python ready. We have installed Python. Okay, I told you we'll just see a sample, running a sample program and then quickly jump. Vi p1 dot program p1 dot py. It should be saved with a dot py extension. A Python file should be saved with a dot py extension. A shell script file would be saved with a dot sh extension. Okay. Anything else would be saved in, if you don't specify anything, it will be taken as a dot txt extension as a text file. Okay. So slash users slash bin slash Python importing Python library set sorry Python p1 dot. Okay, so how you are actually compiling your program? Python space the file name. So how do we run a shell file? Sh place the shell script whatever you want to run, right? So it is Python space p1 dot py. Okay, so I mean I just printed a hello. If you want to add something inside it, you can add for sure add. I just showed you a way to print. Okay, that's it. So I'm just telling you how we are actually opening a file and what are we importing? Hash slash user slash bin slash Python. So you have imported a library Python, library from user bin Python. Okay, and after that you have just it's a sample thing. We just wrote a hello stuff only. So we'll first go ahead and see what is a variable, how is, before we start off with declaring some variables, assigning values to it and printing it. Let's see how we actually declare a variable in Python, how we assign a value to it, how we print a value from it. Okay, so all we'll see, and we'll just go ahead and adding it to our program step by step once we go ahead. Okay, so it should always end with a .py extension, and it should be compiled by Python space the file name. Okay, variables. Okay, so what is a variable? We all know. So variable is nothing but something. Let's say I say a is equals to 10. It's not saying somewhere in my memory that this a is having a value of 100, or its value is 100. But this variable is allocated some memory, right? Some memory. So in this memory, whenever we are calling a, what is it pointing to? It is pointing to 100. So what is it actually storing in that memory is 100 is stored in that memory, which is saying that under call, see, this block is a space for, is a memory allocated for a. And what is the value inside it? 100. So whenever I call a, it fetches the value which is present inside the memory which is allocated for that variable. This is how it works, right? So when you say Python, when you just create a variable in other programming languages, C or let's say Java or something, you have to specify the data type, saying hey, int 100 or float 23.5 or whatever, short int, long int. Okay, and this character char a is equals to s or something. Okay, or string is string s1 is equals to hello. So this is how you have to categorize, saying that hey, this is string, this is character, this is a floating point number, this is a this is a whole number or an integer. This is how we differentiate it. But here you just write a variable name equals to followed by the value you want to assign to it. That's it. It is not asking you to define its data type. You're not going to define its data type, but it is going to pick it up, and it itself tries to understand what data type it is. Okay, so anyways, whatever is a data type is all used for allocating some memory, right? So that's the reason why I differentiated it earlier, right? Very simple, right? What I do, I just added something is equals to 10 and printed that variable out. So I'm not saying print $A, but when I said print A, it has gone ahead and printed value which it has for whatever is stored in A, it has gone ahead and printed. It's very simple. The way in which mostly it might look for you in a way in which we are actually writing an algorithm saying, hey, assign value variable A is equals to 100, just print that variable. That's it. It is very simple. It is nowhere looking complex for us. You can just try it out with different types of data types. See, even when you give a decimal number or a integer, whatever it is, for it doesn't make any sense. For it, everything is the same. And if you want to give any string, it should be specified within double quotes. Okay, or single quotes, whatever you feel comfortable. You can just add it, and that would print it. Okay, so now after variables, we have input and output operations in Python. Okay, so now whatever I'm writing there and printing it out. Okay, so now if I actually want to print a string, how, let's say I open my file and said, it's not that you have to declare it at some place, it is wherever you require it. Say print C, it prints as a name. Okay, simple. Okay, so now I gone to my program and said, okay, I just don't want to do it like this. Whatever, I'll write a print statement saying that, Cheryl write a print statement saying that enter name to be printed. Okay, so after printing it, so I have to take a name here. Okay, str underscore input. Okay, so if at all I've printed off this line earlier, but if at all I wanted to, sorry, don't underscore input. So if at all I want to actually give this line, enter your name here itself, it's not a separate print statement, you can specify it within a single quotes over here. If you leave it blank, it just leaves it like that. That's it. Enter name to be printed. Okay, so what is the name? Let's see, QWERTY. Just printed it. So this is one way of asking it to take a print statement, or else both work in the same way. So whatever I've given there, it is printed it. That's it, right? Now it is input and output operations. Okay, so data types, we have different data types. the normal ones which we know, numbers and strings. Apart from it, we have list, tuple.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. I'll just complete numbers and strings as well in today's session, and we'll quickly start off with lists, tuples, and Python in the next class. Okay, I wanted to teach all of them together. Okay. So coming to numbers, we did it. How are we actually writing a number where 1 is equals to 1, where 2 is equals to 10, whatever. It's like A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20, whatever you want to write, you just wrote it here. After that, how are you going to delete it? Delete it with a reference, okay? Delete where 1 or delete where 2, delete where 3, whatever, you can just go ahead and delete a variable as well, okay? And there are few number functions and there are few string functions, okay, types in Python. So the same way, we can either enclose it between a single quotes or a double quotes. It all depends. You can, however you give, it's a single quote or a different double quote. It doesn't consider it as a character or a string, but however you give it, it considers it as a string only. Okay. So it also has some, coming to numbers, it has some mathematical functions, and coming to strings as well, we have some string operations as well. Okay, so we will look at this in a coming class. Okay, it's not too much in a single day. So just go through whatever I've taught you today. Just install Python on your instance or on your machine. Just try running a sample program for the day. Okay, that's enough. Okay, we'll quickly start with the data types tomorrow in tomorrow's session. Okay. Sandeep,
Okay,
you're
sir.
there?
Yeah, yeah, fine. At least I'm
Okay.
able to understand after all.
You're new to programming, Hari? No, right?
Not new, but it's
It's a
almost
long time.
long. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
but
clear for you now?
scripting,
Yeah.
yeah, the AWK I used to write those
Off.
shell scripts.
All it is, the thing is, you don't work with them for a couple of months only. When you start them again, it will be a fresh for you.
Yeah.
That happens with me also. Whenever it's, let's say I'm working on a Perl scripting program, on a project, or on a Windows partial or something. So when I come back after 2 months or 3 months and get into some assignment with Linux or probably Python, again it would be hey, I think what
Yeah,
should
it's
be
the same
placed
case
here
because
after this.
I was not working on the same products also in the same
Yeah,
storage and backup. I was
yeah,
keep on changing the products as well.
good. You'll have a lot of exposure and you'll learn a lot.
That's what even Linux I used to work, OpenStack I used to work 2 years back.
Good. Good. So in OpenStack, in which companies were you working?
No, I used to work with my company. That time we used to work on our own cloud.
Okay, it was a private cloud which was maintained by your
Yeah,
company.
private cloud for our just for our
Okay,
infrastructure services.
okay. Good. So myself, I mean, I worked on OpenStack and I'm a OpenStack developer as well.
Oh, nice.
Hello then. So see you all in tomorrow's session. Sandeep, is it clear for you?
Yeah, for me, okay. I'll just go through now whatever
Yeah,
those
okay. Okay, I'm
syntaxes.
a bit slow. I didn't want to go overload on first day. So tomorrow, from tomorrow, we'll just fasten it. I mean, just
Sure.
increase the pace a little bit. Okay. So
Okay.
funny, you're also clear, right?
Uh, yes, Pandana, but I'm not in
Okay.
the class. Okay, I just went to some other work. Okay. So anyways,
Okay.
I'll get the recorded session,
Just
right?
go through the session. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So if at all, if at all uh, the pace in which I'm speaking is not clear to you or you're not able to understand properly, just stop me there wherever you're finding an issue. I'll clear it up. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shiva?
Yes, Funny.